Hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy to have you here with us today. Today, I have another awesome lady to share with you. I have with us today Kathryn Martin. She guides leaders to create the impact they're meant to achieve with success, joy, and ease. Kathryn was named Top Leadership Coach of the Year by the International Association of Top Professionals. Kathryn has over 30 years experience leading arts and culture organizations and mentoring consultants during times of change and transition. As one of this country's top professionals and CEOs, Kathryn has led 10 arts and culture organizations forward, currently as interim president and CEO of the Tucson Symphony Orchestra. Yay! Anyway, welcome, Kathryn.
Thank you so much, Paula. I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to our conversation.
I am just so happy to have you with us. Will you share a little bit about how you have progressed and become the top leadership coach of the year? That is so exciting.
Thank you. Yes, I'd be happy to. You know, I'm creating a movement of leaders who are speaking their impact so that they and their organizations can attract the people that they're meant to serve. And so together we're making this world a better place. And about 4 years ago, I took a leap. I left my job as vice president of a national arts consulting firm, and I left this was my business plan, to go do things that made my heart sing. Which was very scary, you know, and felt very much lacking initially. Like, what do you mean? What does that mean? I didn't know. That's not much of a business plan. What about my income? But it has turned out that following our heart, with some kind of foundational support behind that, has turned out to be a wonderful guide for me and now for those that I help. You know, for as long as I can remember throughout my career in the arts, I've been able to help people move from a point A to an extraordinary point B. And in the beginning of my career, it was in stage management and literally moving pianos and equipment and from here to there. And now it's moving organizations from a moment of opportunity or sometimes crisis into their next extraordinary chapter, or leaders who are successful and yet maybe are wanting more, maybe are feeling a pulling of some kind, or they've reached what they for so many years thought would be the pinnacle of their career, and then felt a little missing, something missing, or is that all there is? Or I don't have a life that's in balance, or yes, I made it here at the expense of my health, my relationships, my all sorts of things.
Yeah. And do you know what I find fascinating, Kathryn, is we can begin with, okay, this is my goals, this is what I want to do, and really find out that something else is a passion. I know myself when I was in college to be an accountant, I had it all figured out. I was going to have a sign on the door on my porch, and I started working at a restaurant, and I fell in love with that and became a restaurant manager and owner. I mean, sometimes we don't know what our passion's going to be, and by, you know, working on the goals and objectives, we can open up a door for something that's completely different.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the wonderful thing. So there's two things that you made me think about. One is that our purpose. Well, so first of all, I remember, you know, trying to find out the answer to that big question: what is my purpose? Mm-hmm. And being frozen and paralyzed and feeling less than. You know, I was in a room of people actually when we were going through, and they were all talking about their purpose, and I'm like, I don't have one. But of course I do. We all have a purpose. And for me, the way to unlock that big question, which is also completely related to the question of what should I do next, or what should I do? How should I spend my time? Where should I put my time? Is through impact. So our impact on others. And what's wonderful in talking to you, because you also know the power of joy, is that joy to me, what I've learned is that it's actually a compass and a litmus test for success. So what I know is that when we are feeling joy, if we could pause that moment, or in hindsight look back and say, when I was feeling that feeling in my body, that exhilarating, whatever it is to you, that feeling of joy, being on top of your game, feeling connected, whatever, what happened as a result of that? What was the ripple of impact? So yes, you felt good, but what happened to others when you felt that joy?
Oh,
And when we follow those ripples out, sometimes they're very direct.
yeah.
When I showed up this way in joy, I saw the transformation or the action occur in others. Sometimes it's more subtle. Sometimes those ripples of impact go way out, but they're still there. So when we can connect as a first step to finding our joy and honoring it and saying with curiosity, when I'm feeling this, what happens to others? To me, that unlocks the path to purpose.
Yes, yes, I love that, with what happens to others. I've always felt everyone should work in a restaurant because you learn so much. Working under pressure, working with the public, it's busy, it's slow.
Yes.
One of my favorite things was, I love serving the customers, but every once in a while you'd get someone who you could just tell wasn't happy. They just weren't happy, and may even have been looking for something to complain about. And I didn't get irritated. It became a challenge to me to help them feel better. So I try to give good service, or, just smile, whatever. And to see someone's mood turn around and them have a smile and thank me for the service, or just, change that energy, that was a huge success for me, because as you said, people feel our joy.
That's right. So for you, you just illustrated this beautifully. So the other thing about our purpose is that there can be many vehicles, many paths. I like vehicles to living in our purpose. So you found that one of your vehicles was working in a restaurant, serving people, was the way you helped people feel better, feel good.
Yes.
I happen to know you have lots of other vehicles through books and radio shows, etc., that allow you to do the same thing. So this is really expanding. So when clients come to me and say, Kathryn, what should I do next? The problem initially, it's a wonderful problem, is that, well, you could do many things. This is the brilliant thing. You don't, as long as we're living in our purpose, you can choose many different vehicles. And there are some practical questions for that, and all sorts of things. But as long as you carry out your responsibility to live in that purpose, you can work in a restaurant, you can write a book, you can do all sorts of things. It doesn't matter. And that to me takes the pressure off, finding the perfect job, or the job title, or the business. It just opens it up.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, exactly. And wouldn't you say, if someone really doesn't know their passion or their purpose yet, it's like, oh gosh, well, I really don't know what my goal is, or my purpose. That's okay. We can just be open, and it will come. We'll figure it out. It's
absolutely. And hopefully it's a lifelong journey that we're continuing to hone. And I just love gathering information, gathering intel, because that often is the missing piece again, with what should I do next? What is my purpose? It's really looking inward and saying, okay, that one time when I felt so wonderful, that feeling, when are the other times in my life I felt that feeling? And do I want to feel that feeling more and more, and every day, and in my job, and in my personal life? Hopefully the answer is yes. And so then how can I recreate it? And there's lots of different ways to do that. So one, I think it's a lifelong journey, and two, it's our responsibility to just observe. So you don't have to decide anything. I thought finding my purpose was like, okay, I had to have this aha moment, and all of a sudden it would just be known, and I was the only one that didn't have a purpose. Or also, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I've had people say to me, Kathryn, I'm not a transformational leader. I'm not this, I'm not that. Does everybody have a purpose? I don't think I have a purpose. And so the answer, I believe, is yes. Our purposes are to have the impact on others that we are already having, that we've had since being a child. But it's our responsibility to notice it, yeah, and to let our voices get out of the way. So for me, just to say out loud, yes, when I show up fully as myself in joy, I help others. That sounds just like a fact, and I now know it is a fact. But in the beginning, sometimes the way we're brought up is to say, well, don't brag. That sounds vain. Who do you think you are? All of those other voices in our head that prevent us from just observing the facts, gathering the impact data. So I think that's just so important for us to, instead of focusing on what's my purpose, just flip it and say, what am I already doing that helps others, where I feel wonderful? And just keep building on that.
Yes, yes. And isn't it exciting that we can discover something that brings us joy and becomes a passion, and discover something else that does too? It's not limited, is it?
That's right. We are not limited. That's right. Only by our thoughts. So we can choose and make choices not to have that be true.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. And I experience this every day when I'm working with people who think that there is only one track to success. In fact, there are whole conferences about it. In my industry, in the arts and culture industry, I used to work also in executive search, where there were, you have to stay in this job for 3 years, and then you have to have this experience. And if, your goal is to be an executive director, you have to follow this particular path, or you don't, or you don't have to, as long as you have that clarity on your purpose, and what you're meant to do with other people, yes, for other people.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I love it, Kathryn. Let's talk about, okay, what's the connection of success? Okay, we have our success, what we're going after. We may reach that. It may be monetary or accomplishment. But is that joy? I mean, you can be successful, but really not be happy. So what do you see as those two tied?
Yes, so it's kind of all of the above. So it depends. With some people that are successful in the traditional way, let's say, they're making lots of money and they have a great job title, they're respected, they're doing good work. So for some people, that specific scenario might be bringing them joy. They might be fully living in their purpose. And then for others, they might have all of those characteristics and not be so happy. So sometimes people are miserable, but other times there's that gray area where, well, I'm okay. This is just probably how it's meant to be. It's part of it's part of being successful that I struggle to find work-life balance. So whatever one is feeling is true. And just, again, we need to look at ourselves. So many of the people that I work with, I would say, are considered successful from the outside. And they consider themselves successful, but they're wanting just a little bit more. They're wanting more meaning sometimes, or they're wanting more work-life balance, or. And so then the question becomes, how do I get it? What do I do? And then my answer always is, well, it depends. It depends on what you're meant to do, what brings you joy, and let's let's focus on that, and let's reverse engineer. So the more data we gather on what our point B is, and answer that hard question of what do we really, really, really want in terms of impact. That's the hard part. That's the missing piece. If we can define that, then we can put a different part of our brain on and say, okay, here's where I am. Here's where I want to be, with the capital B, like in being. And so what are the strategies? What are the actions? Let's reverse engineer. It's okay, here's where I am, here's where I want to be. What do I need to do? What are the thoughts I need to think?
Yes.
What are the, the choices I need to make? What's the language I need to use? What are the feelings I need to feel? And what are the actions that I need to take to help attract that, to help me move strategically into that? And I'm not a person of just like, let's just think positively. So Paula, that's the other thing, just think positively and all that goes with that. For some people, we're too smart. And like, well, yeah, I know I should exercise more. I know I should just think happy thoughts, or I don't know, there's these shoulds, but we don't really have the evidence to know that the strategy that we're employing is actually going to work. So that's why I like finding the evidence of impact, so that we know it's not bragging, it's that joy really is this litmus test and compass that we can use strategically.
Yes, yes. I've always told myself, I'm not going to wait until I'm at the top of the stairway to be happy. I'm going to be happy on every step. Because it's easy to say I'll be happy once I get up those stairs.
It's so beautiful, Paula, what you said. Yes, because yes. And really, if we're talking about purpose, and we already know that every one of us has been doing it since a child, having that impact on others. So every part of your staircase, as you say, it's our responsibility to show up and do our thing, be who we're meant to be, no matter what we're doing. So absolutely.
Oh, Kathryn, you are so awesome. And I must mention, because this is so exciting for both of us, we are both a co-author in an upcoming book to be released in summer of 2019. Please tell the audience about this great book that they have coming their way.
Yes, so you and I were both invited to be a part of this incredible project called America's Leading Ladies. What's the subtitle?
Stories of courage and success.
Triumph
and courage. Courage, challenge, and triumph.
There you go. Yeah. Thank you. We'll need to memorize that, Paula.
Yes.
We've been included with an incredible number of truly inspirational women that are sharing their insights, their stories, their struggles, and how they triumphed. Yes. So we both have a chapter in this book. Mine is called Love Your Life, 5 Lessons for Leaders, where I share a little bit about my journey and what I've learned, and much of what you and I are just talking about, finding your joy.
Yes.
Living in your purpose.
And mine is themed on my book that's going to be released in June 2019. Why am I so happy? And, what an honor for us, Kathryn, to also be in this book with such amazing women like Melinda.
Yes, that's right.
Oprah Winfrey. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we are very excited.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
It will be an ebook and then paperback after that. So yes. I just love it. Well, tell us a little bit about what you do, your coaching, how people can learn more about you and get more information of the great things you do for them.
Oh, thank you so much, Paula. So as I said, I work with individuals and with mostly nonprofit organizations, so mission-driven organizations. And on the coaching part of my business, I have a program called the Career Breakthrough Academy. And this is an online program where people are being coached through this self-paced program where I'm with you every step of the way, guiding people to find their joy, find their impact, and to know what to do next. And Paula, if it's okay, I would like to offer your listeners a free gift. It's an e-guide, and it's called 4 Elements to Create the Success That You Want. And it goes through a step-by-step process with some guiding questions that will help your listeners and your reader and your viewers. To get that information, just go to createyourdreamcareer.com. Createyourdreamcareer.com. I wish I had put in createyourdreamcareerlife.com because that's really what it's all about. And when people then download the e-guide, you'll be signed up to my e-list, and there'll be all sorts of information and free resources on how to help you with your journey.
Yeah. Would you like to give us just a little teaser of this and maybe share what one of those steps are?
Yes. How about to connect with that joy, right? So maybe if everyone could just think of a peak experience. Now, if someone is thinking about what to do in their career, don't worry. It could be any experience. So it could be up on a mountain. It could be in your personal life. It could be back when you were babysitting when you were 13. Think of a peak experience where you were, and remember how you were feeling. And I just put my hand to my chest. So where were you feeling that feeling of joy, that peak feeling of being on top of your game, and whatever it was that you're feeling? Where did you feel that in your body? And then find all of the other times in your life. They'll be very different, which is good. The more different they are, the more fun it is to then piece them together. Where are the places in your life where you felt the same feeling in your body? Not the same circumstances, and then you can do a lot with that. But it's just at least start observing when you felt joy in the past and when you felt joy in the future. And joy meaning that feeling in your body where you were just goosebumps, exhilarating, whatever it was.
Yes, yes. And wouldn't you say that we each have I call them emotional triggers, things that particularly for us create joy. Like one of mine is my favorite music. I mean, we all have our little triggers that create joy in our lives, don't we?
Yes, we do. And again, the fact that you know it is wonderful. I know it for me, and that's our responsibility, is to know it, because we have to use that data, that intel, this is the part of the missing intel on us that we have to know. It's like, well, isn't that interesting? I get lit up when I hear this piece of music. And we just bring it into it's not a toolbox, it's just our inventory. And so that we can observe it and look at it, because what we want to do is recreate it time and time again. And so we have our causes and conditions, internal and external, about how we can recreate it, what we need to show up. But first we have to know when it does show up. We have to be awake to observe it, like you did when you're listening to music.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Oh, just, know it, observe it, and love it and appreciate it too, huh?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that is so fun.
Joy is a compass and a litmus test for living in your purpose, and in my opinion, being successful, having the impact that you're meant to have.
And I love the analogy compass. What direction do I want to go? Oh my gosh, I'm going to go to the direction of joy on my compass. Yes. I love that, Kathryn.
Yes, thank you.
That is so fantastic. With a few minutes left in the show, what last words do you want to share with everybody today?
Oh, this conversation has been great, Paula. And as I said, I'm on a mission, ultimately to participate in making this world extraordinary. And the way we are all doing that is by living in our purpose and helping others. So just be an expert on yourself and don't let others define what success means for each of us. Trust and honor whatever you are feeling and observing about yourself. Be the expert on you, I think, is what I want to invite everybody to do. Don't let others define you. Be the expert.
Oh, I love that. I love that, Kathryn. Oh, because we are the ones that decide what is our triggers of joy, our passions, what we value, what we care about. We are, aren't we?
We are, and Paula too, this has such practical applications. So I coach a lot of leaders in interviews, right? Because they're curating their next chapters and their next careers, and that for some can lead to asking investors for money or doing interviews for top positions. And my experience has shown over the years that we don't do a good job at talking about the real us, our true value. And we leave it up to others to try to figure it out. So, this is not just about feeling good. It's about being able to have the data so that we can communicate our impact to others so that we can be working with and putting ourselves in situations where we can have the most impact, whether that's an organization, a relationship, a community, the world.
Oh my gosh, Kathryn, that is so fantastic. Powerful messages.
Thank you.
I am so grateful. I could go on for another hour with you. This is, we may have to do another show down the road.
That's right.
I love it. Oh, thank you so much. Love, hugs, and blessings, Kathryn.
You are welcome, Paula. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, thank you. Love, hugs, and blessings to everyone out there. Have a fantastic, joyous day. Bye.
Bye.